again. Welcome back to Ground Zero Salem. My name is Pat, your intrepid host. So I decided to maybe make a little bit of a collection update. I've gone through enough nostalgia for now. I do buy a lot of music. The past 2 months or so, I bought a crap ton of music. So I kind of wanted to just very quickly, in a very nice, succinct, hopefully under 20-minute video, show you guys what I've been blowing my money on lately. Bunch of orders, a couple of distros, some Discog stuff, a couple of pickups here and there. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. I'm gonna grab this stuff off the floor from previous attempts here. Still getting the hang of this whole recording on an iPad thing. Hopefully this doesn't get cut off like my last attempt. Listening to the new Immolation right now. Everybody and their mother is into this, and for very good reason. It's Immolation's a great band that's been doing great stuff for years. This is the best thing they've done in quite a while. Production-wise, it sounds perfect to my ears. A lot of the last couple of records were criticized by some for being kind of cold sounding and mechanical sounding. I think this is the perfect balance of organic and just everything being perfectly balanced and nice and loud. Songwriting wise, it's not that there was anything wrong with them before, but it's the best thing they've done in years. It sounds really, really good. Love that old logo being back. I also grabbed that No Obituary, the self-titled. First one I've bought and since World Demise, I think. I think it's a good return to form for them. The last record I put on at work when I was bored last night, and it Inked in Blood, I think it was called, the crowdfunded one. It sounded like ass to my ears, at least recording wise. Yeah, the guitar tone on that new Obituary sounds great. The songwriting's pretty good too. Tardy's vocals, of course, he's not going to sound like he did on Slowly We Rot for years. They're a little bit higher, but he still sounds pretty damn good for as long as he's been at it. So what else? Well, I put in an order at Bindrune. Been meaning to pick up, mainly to pick up this great CD that I think came out last year. I'm gonna completely mutilate the name of this band. We'll just call them Panphage. Panphage, I don't know. I'm not a big black metal guy. I haven't really mastered my Scandinavian pronunciations yet. At any rate, this is a fantastic record. Lots of great hooks. Insanely catchy. Just, I don't know. Words aren't really doing me justice right now, but it's really good. I picked up this Excessum. This is good black metal. It came out in the mid-2000s. It was a little $3, throw it in the box, why not kind of deal. Nothing really stands out to me about it right now, but I've only listened to it briefly. So, another name that I'll probably mutilate, Bhleg. Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt the name of the album. You can probably see it right there. This is a little bit more raw and stripped down than the aforementioned. It's good, kind of burzamy, kind of ulvery, as it said in the description online. There's certain songs that have like a little bit of an ambient quality to them, which is nice. It's got a nice kind of mystical feel, which is cool. Some good like chanting and stuff like that. So that's great. Again, these are all cursory listens, so take everything I say with a grain of salt, but I'm very happy with all those purchases. If I can find it, I also picked up, these are kind of out of order from my previous attempt here. Cruthu. This is excellent traditional doom from Michigan. Almost sounds like a little bit of a Celtic or kind of like Thin Lizzy influenced doom, or maybe like a little bit of Slough in there, but it's definitely real deal doom metal, you know, no stoner hippie bullshit in this. Very, very good. First song's called Bog of Kildare, so they do have that little Celtic influence. I'm into it. Along with those Immolation and Obituary pickups, I snagged some Death Doom classics. The most classic of them all right here, My Dying Bride, first album, As the Flower Withers. I mean, Sear Me and the Forever People, Bitterness of Bereavement, these are all some of the best songs they ever wrote, in my opinion. They cleaned things up a little bit as time went on. You know, they started involving cleaner vocals and whatnot. But even on their first LP, this one, they were involving violins and keyboards, and it was definitely a marriage made in heaven of brutal, chunky, slower death metal with strings and stuff. It was just great, great, great stuff. Way ahead of its time. Another band that was very ahead of their time, but I'm still sinking my teeth into. These are the first two Unholy CDs here. First one, From the Shadows. Second one, The Second Ring of Power. Very odd. You know, they don't have that gothic kind of feel that My Dying Bride and Paradise Lost did. It's way more ancient, for lack of a better word, kind of thing going on. There's some electric violin on one of these. Definitely dirgy, drawn-out stuff, but not quite like a funeral doom sort of thing. It's very, very much death metal and very weird and very occult, and I highly recommend it. I can't wait to just get these completely etched into my being. Some good stuff. I wish I would have been into them back in the day, but I only started hearing them maybe, well, almost a decade ago now, but it was all MP3s and bullshit like that, so I'm glad to have hard copies. Also, I grabbed gripped the Horrendous demo on CD when I saw them with Creator and Obituary and Midnight. I'm a fan of most of this band's stuff. Let's drop the CD. This is a good start. It's definitely more of a worship of the Scandinavian death metal stuff, Entombed and Dismember and what have you, but even that early on, they were doing something pretty unique with it and kind of going in a different direction, and they've mutated into something totally different now. That's great, great stuff. And then I bought some records off of Discogs. Most of these were blind buys. This was on my want list for a while. I have a little bit of a weird preoccupation with all these, like, kind of 7-inch oriented early 90s death metal labels, thrash records from France, Drowned Productions from Spain, and of course Seraphic Decay from Cleveland, my favorite country. There's a French band called Occult. Intersincarneo. This is very raw early 90s black metal. Sorry, early 90s death metal. Very brutal. Drums aren't quite keeping time perfectly. Drum sound is weird. There's a lot of chunky slowness. There's a lot of fast parts feeling a little off kilter, which is exactly the type of stuff I'm looking for when I pick up a 7-inch like this. So I'm very happy with my purchase. And as time goes on, I want to get more of this stuff. I think a few updates back, I said something like, I don't know why like my friends have everything on Seraphic Decay, but I don't even like all that stuff that much. I was full of shit. I realized after watching that I'm jealous. I actually looked through the list of everything Seraphic Decay has put out, most of which I was aware of, and I was like, oh yeah, Mortician, Incantation, all this is good. So, as a side note, I take that back, and I'm already starting to plot to get some of that great early Seraphic Decay stuff. Hey, nobody's perfect, you know? We all believe our own bullshit at some point. This was a blind buy in part of the same order. Vulpecula. PA, kind of atmospheric US black metal band. Cool stuff. Very, early, we're talking mid-90s American black metal. Definitely borrows just as much from the Greek bands as it does the Norwegian. It's really in a class of its own. Slower to marching kind of mid-pace stuff, very raw. Glad I bought it. I just bought it because it looked cool. No idea about anything else. Non-Serviam, same deal. You know, reasonable price. Kind of looked up a little bit about what the band was about. Scandinavian band. Obviously the name of a Rotting Christ record. A lot cleaner, well-produced sound. Almost thrashy in tone, but very, very black metal in spirit. There's some good, like, clean vocals on here. Sort of, I guess, sort of Viking-ish clean vocals. Again, cursory listen, so excuse me if I'm talking out of my butthole. Panzerbastard, split with Rawhide. I've talked about Panzerbastard a bunch of times already. I also picked up this CD EP, tight, thrashy, thrash metal-y D-beat with some Motorhead in there, best way I can put it. Not really doing their really, really good sound service, but if I'm going to give you the soundbite, that's what I'll say. Rawhide are a lot more rock and roll, kind of somewhere floating between, like, Rose Tattoo and Motorhead, maybe. Almost kind of remind me of, like, Speedwolf, but with less metal elements. Somewhere in that neighborhood. Really good record, really good split. I'll show you guys the vinyl on this because it looks really nice. It's this nice neon green there. Iconic Panzerbastard tank. Going back real quick to that Discogs order, I picked up this Besatt debut LP by this Polish black metal band. It's raw, it's fast, you know, unbridled black metal. It doesn't sound that different to my ears than, you know, a lot of the Norwegian stuff. It definitely reminds me of Dark Throne a lot, although I don't have the most diversified palette. You know, I'm sure a lot of people out there could school me on what is significantly different about Polish black metal, but I do like this. It was a good price, so I just snagged it. So, the Panzerbastard stuff was part of a big order from a local distro who I'll post a link from, called Patac, P-A-T-A-C Records. They are a record label, and they have a really, really good distro that has all kinds of metal of all genres, a lot of excellent punk and hardcore, and a little bit of rock and roll, garage rock, and stuff like that. So if you're looking to cover a bunch of those bases, drop a chunk of cash and get quick shipping and everything packed nice, just a little plug for a local distro I like. One of the first things in that stack is this band Nomads. I heard a lot of great stuff about this record. It came out last year. Made some lists, I think, for better hardcore records. It came out in 2016. It's really good. You know, there's a lot of that punishing D-beat kind of rhythmic quality to it, but they don't really stick to that genre religiously or anything. What caught my eye, and it's kind of funny, but they cover Lucretia My Reflection by Sisters of Mercy, and they do it really, really well. They also cover a Gigi Allen song on here. But it's, I mean, as far as capturing raw anger and hatred and being genuine, this foots the bill really well. They're from LA. Nomads, Leave It. It's just called Leave It. Love It Or is crossed out for the record. I also got a couple of LPs by, one's a split, one's a one-sided LP by Blessed Offal. Local death metal band that I thought called it a day, but they're playing a show with Angel Corpse in a couple of weeks, so I'm looking forward to that. Really good. I mean, they sound like a classic death metal band from the 90s, but they're not aping anybody. They don't sound like Entomb, they don't sound like Incantation. They're pretty unique in their own way, just existing in that time period, and I love it when bands can do that. You know, they sound genuine to a certain era, but they're not a worship band. It's a big thing I'm fond of. There's a lot of, like, driving, almost punkish fast parts, and the slow parts are really effective. The vocals are suitably guttural, but decipherable and more kind of mid-range. One-sided, nothing on that side. Black vinyl. This came out on Blood Harvest, actually, quite a while ago, I think. Maybe 2010. This other one is a split with Innumerable Forms, who... It's a one-man project from this gentleman named Justin Tor. Plays in so many other bands, I'm not even going to get into it. This is a very Finnish influence, you know, pointed towards Demigod and Convulse for stuff that it kind of sounds like, but again, borrowing enough from that sound, but being creative and, you know, getting that murkiness, but not worshiping either band, and doing it really fucking well. You know, great sticks with you kind of riffs, incredibly heavy, and they cover Winter by Amoebics and fucking kill it with that cover. Reaching the original in its greatness. Oh, and by the way, on the Blessed Offal, this is a 3-song EP, by the way. They cover Rainbow Demon by Uriah Heep. Lots of good covers in this edition of Ground Zero Salem. The Rainbow Demon cover is also really, really, really good. Very effective. Very well executed. After this, it's pretty much reissues, so I'll kind of burn through these. You know, show off the vinyl and all that fun shit. Couple of high roller bad boys here. Razor Shotgun Justice. It's a classic. It's competing with Violent Restitution right now for me for my favorite Razor record. All the songs about the music biz and being Canadian and just getting by, I love it. It's like some of the best reality-based lyrics. United by Hatred. Stabbed in the Back, of course, is the title track. This is... I'm usually not impressed with colored or clear or splatter or anything, but this is... It looks like a shotgun blast, like the back of somebody's head afterwards. The wall behind somebody's head. Really, really cool looking. Not any bonuses in it, that's fine. Definite quality that you come to expect from High Roller. Their reissues are always of the utmost quality. And then I have this. I rarely, you know, try to buy reissues if I have the original, but my original copies really beat of Possessed Seven Churches. Very faithful to the original with the embossing and all that. It's on purple vinyl. I don't really feel compelled to show it off because it's nothing really that special. But as you can see, we have that ye old thrash collage like you have. And this is a nice touch. Jeff Becerra Flaming Cross, just this like card. Pretty cool. Got the High Roller order sheet. Nice poster. Not really into showing off posters. And putting all this crap back in sucks. So I'm just gonna carefully place this on the floor. Mentors. So, if G.G. Allen and Wasp had a baby, it would be this band if you're not familiar. Fat, Drunk, and Stupid is No Way to Go Through Life, son, but nobody told El Duce that. If you're not a fan of really stupid shit, knuckle-dragging, dumb misogyny, not intended to be taken seriously, this band is not for you. There's some good riffs on this. There's some good guffaws. If you read anything about El Duce as a person back in those days, they're all infamous stories back in LA, but I'll let you explore that on your own accord. This looks like piss. It's real pee looking. You can't really tell. There's a slight swirl to it that really just drives the point home. Ugh. It's, the name of it is Yellow Taste the Foam vinyl. This was reissued. They replicated all the old Death Records labels and all that kind of stuff, but it's reissued on Stool Sample Records. Charming. Rounding everything up so I can go to bed and stop yapping is mid-90s Meatmen record. Pope on a Rope. It's good. I like every Meatmen record. This is their heaviest. It doesn't say even what label it came out on. This was actually what they were touring on when I saw them open for Guar. They completely blew my mind. It's great. It's the usual kind of like nasty punk with some metal licks thrown in. A lot of gimmicky stuff in a good way. Great songs like Pope on a Rope, of course. I Want Drugs is a great one. Tesco V's roaring kind of vocals. Just, I mean, that guy is a guy that it doesn't matter what the music sounds like. He's like a Tony Erba or Lemmy. You know, he could sing over somebody farting into a snare drum and it would be great. This does not sound like farting into a snare drum, though, thankfully. Yeah, just up-tempo punk with a rock and roll metallic edge to it. A little bit more of a heavy, like dude-heavy, like groove kind of 90s thing to it that I don't really like, but it doesn't really ruin it except for, I think the song Men, Meat, and Fire has sort of a gross kind of Pantera thing, but everything else is pure gold. Drugs and Masturbation's a song on it. The Sex Mart 2000 little infomercial clip on there is a good little bit, little skit. They cover Alcohol by Gangrene. They also cover Hot Rails to Hell. So, yeah, this is definitely worth a listen, worth a poke. I would definitely suggest it. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. That great Mad magazine, the Pope being, there's Tesco right there. God, I love this fucking band. Probably more than I should. And that's about it. So, I've got a ton more stuff coming in the mail. I'll probably be doing another one of these in a week, if not maybe 2 weeks, because I went hog wild with ordering stuff, and I probably have another 20 or so records en route to my house right now. Definitely excited about going into all these death metal 7 inches and hardcore 7 inches as well. If anybody has any questions or suggestions, as always, let me know. I reply to everyone, because 5 people usually comment. It's not that hard to manage. But yeah, everybody so far, thanks for keeping in touch. Thanks for subscribing. I'm going to start probably being a little bit more active with posting links and stuff in the actual postings. I keep telling myself that anyway, but in the meantime, keep checking my little tunage playlist to if you're curious about some of the stuff that I talk about. Support Attack Records. I will definitely put that link down there, and support Panzerbastard. Till next time.